In this program, we spotlight guests from all over the globe who have helped others change their lives. And we'll provide you with the tips, tools, and techniques that you need to help make a difference in your own life. Now, here is Marla Goldberg.
Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a fabulous Thursday. Excuse me about this. Sorry about that. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. I am here with an amazing lady. Her name is Diana Palm. Diana is a spiritual healer, certified Reiki master, author, paranormal investigator, and medium. She has studied mediumship at the Arthur Findlay College in England and Theta Healing at the Think Institute in the United States. Diana began her journey as a spiritual pilgrim when she traveled to Medjugorje, Bosnia, to work with a healing priest who taught her how to clear negative entities to help people heal. Diana has founded the Afterlife Research Society to provide proof of the afterlife. And she is also the author of 3 books, Setting Spirits Free, Mediumship, Scrying and Transfiguration for Beginners, and Spiritual Anatomy Divination Cards and Guidebook. Welcome, Diana. So happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Marla.
Wow, you've got a lot of background. You're just 30. How did you do that?
Oh, sure. I wish I was 30. Then I'd have more time to play.
Lots of time to play.
Yes.
So, okay, let's talk about your spiritual pilgrimage.
Mm-hmm.
What was the catalyst that got you to go to Bosnia for this adventure?
Yeah, it was so interesting. I just gave birth to my daughter. We were living in Tucson, Arizona, and estranged from my family. And suddenly I was actually reading a book called Celestian Prophecy, which I'm sure everyone remembers. Such a pivotal book. Yeah, yes, but such a pivotal book for me. As I was reading it, I was saying, I literally just said it out loud. I was in the bathtub and I said, oh my God, I need a spiritual journey like this. I want to go to a war-torn land. I want to learn spiritual truths. I want to learn how to heal people, and I want to have this experience. And right after I got out of the bathtub and dried off, I got a phone call from my mother, who hadn't spoken to me in quite some time. She never met the baby yet. And she was offering to take all of her children to Medjugorje, Bosnia. And I hadn't heard of it. So I was like, well, okay, this is weird that you're calling me. And where's Medjugorje, Bosnia? What is it about? And she starts to describe it. And she's saying, well, there's a couple warnings, because it's under war. And she starts to go about how the Virgin Mary appears and people are being healed, and that we would be traveling with some very special healing priests. And everything inside me, like all my cells literally lit up. And I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I couldn't believe it. So I just said, yes, I'll pack up everything in Tucson, head back to Minnesota, jump on a plane, and go to Bosnia. So that's how I ended up getting there.
That's a God wink if I ever heard one.
Yeah, yes.
Absolutely. And so when you were there, what did you experience? Did you feel a shift in the energy the moment you got off the plane, or before you?
Well, that was a little bit more intimidating because they had Croatian soldiers everywhere, and there were, bodies coming in and out of the airport, and sandbags, UN soldiers everywhere. So that part was a little bit more scary. I didn't really start feeling the shift until we pulled into the village of Medjugorje. And then it was just the most amazing thing, one after the next, experiencing. I experienced the miracle of the sun, where the sun is literally jumping around in the sky. And it occurs at the same time that the Virgin Mary is appearing in apparition form to people, but the sun is literally jumping around. So that was one of the first things I saw. I saw burning bushes, and we'd run to them and the fire wouldn't be there. We just had many miracles. The group that we traveled with experienced many different forms of healing. And then that's where the healing priest actually taught me how to work with people, and worked with me for like 3 days so that I could really clear negative entities and help people heal.
That sounds like an amazing experience. And I wouldn't know what to look at. Do you look at the jumping sun, or do you look at Mother Mary?
Yeah, Yeah, it was so amazing. And mostly the visionaries are the ones that see the Virgin Mary. But the people that are gathered have different experiences that they can interpret differently. So she just appears to like the certain number of visionaries, but when we're gathered for that, there's all kinds of things, and people were seeing the circle of stars, and people were experiencing different emotions and different physical healings as well as spiritual and emotional healings.
It sounds like an amazing trip. Have you been back there since?
No, I haven't. It was just kind of like a once in a lifetime thing. I often thought about going back, but then I thought, I'm really lucky that I've been able to move forward with being able to use that energy and then everything else that I've learned. So I feel like it was just a pivotal, for me, extremely pivotal to my life path. And it didn't really feel like somewhere to go back and revisit because it already put me on my path.
Fair enough. And did you see Mother Mary? Were you
No,
able to see her?
no, I did not. I did not see her. We had, we were able to have things blessed when her apparition was there. It was something we had to go on faith because we couldn't see her, but we did have everything blessed. And the holy water I had in a canteen, I brought that back to the US with me and used that for years in doing healings for people. And every time they had just remarkable healings. So, yeah, so we get to experience it in different ways.
That's truly incredible. So when did you start seeing spirits?
I was seeing spirits prior to that. I saw spirits much younger. So for me, it was mostly ghosts. I did see entities. I could always tell when entities were on somebody. I also had a natural ability, if I was sitting in a mall, for instance, and people were walking by, I could instantly tell what kind of wounds that they were carrying, what kind of abuse they'd suffered. And I was, basically just a little girl. And I just kept saying, like, I really want to be able to help these people. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it yet. So I really didn't know how to gain those skills and abilities. The traditional forms didn't seem to make sense for me. I was not really drawn to like psychology or anything like that. I knew it was more in the spiritual area that I wanted to work. But I just had all these gifts and abilities from early. And then as my life grew and I grew, I actually gained more and more abilities.
That's what happens. I mean, when you start learning more, you learn more modalities, and everything gets stronger and more acute.
Right. And for me too, I think a huge piece of it was, number one, I was raised in a Catholic family. So a lot of the turmoil around doing any kind of spiritual work, I had to make peace with that and get over my fear of that, my dogma, my programmed, thought patterns around that. And that's where that piece of Medjugorje came in really important for me, because I had these gifts and abilities. I really wanted to help people. But because I was raised Catholic, I thought I wasn't allowed to, or that it would be bad or wrong. And when I had the healing priest in Bosnia work with me, he said, some people just have this calling. And so basically he gave me the green light. So after that point, it just marked my nonstop efforts to do whatever I could do to continue to learn and grow and heal myself and get more skills and abilities so I could continue to work with others.
And when you grew up, your mother, was she open to did you share with her, and was she open? No, she was like a direct.
No, not at all. No, they're not at all. So I just lived a pretty separate life. I mean, I still keep in touch with my parents, and actually we've had a lot of healing in the last decade or so. And so our relationship is much better. She still doesn't understand my work, but she tries to, within her own framework of her belief system, she tries to be supportive. It's just something that we don't discuss much. She hasn't read my books. She's a little leery about asking me how my work is going.
I understand that. It happens to so many, right?
Yes.
they learn to open up and get inquisitive, or they stay in their little box.
Yeah. It was a stretch. I had her listen to some EVPs, and that was a big stretch for her, but she thought that was pretty neat. So,
well, maybe one day she's still there. So as long as you're here, there's hope. But here's the reality: when she transitions, she'll realize, Oh my God, my daughter is so gifted.
Well, it was really funny because, as a youth, like she would always bring us out to ghost towns in the desert of California. So we spent tons of time going to ghost towns. So when I actually was starting to tell her I'm seeing these things and I'm hearing, that was more like, wait a minute, that's just for entertainment. You're not supposed to really be able to tap in with that. So it was conflicting for me because I was like, well, why are we here then? Because I'm feeling all the ghosts and I'm sensing everything that's going on and that needs to be healed. And there needed to be a bridge for me. So really that trip to Bosnia is what put that bridge there.
What's interesting, I'm getting this feeling when you're telling me about your mother, that really she unconsciously knew where to bring you. And because there was an attraction. If she didn't have some sort of attraction, she wouldn't have even said, oh, let's go to a ghost town or let's go to Bosnia and experience this.
Absolutely. And what I thought was really interesting as well, when she did put that offer out to her children to take them to Medjugorje, Bosnia, she said that she was visited. So she had an apparition come to her in her bedroom, and she said it was the Lamb of God that told her to take all her children there that wanted to go. We were all adults. And I was really the only one that wanted to. For me, I was like, oh my God, like somehow my prayer was answered and it went directly to her and told her to invite everybody. But she had her own experiences. It was just something she didn't feel comfortable with.
Because of her teachings.
Yes.
How she was brought up, how she was raised, her religious beliefs.
Right. The dogma got in the way.
Exactly. So when you're seeing a spirit, how do you tell what's the difference between a ghost and a spirit? Is there a difference?
Yes, there certainly is. So I lived in many, many haunted houses. And so that got me really comfortable with detecting different types of spiritual energies and ghosts. And it wasn't until I actually lost some people real close to me that I noticed the difference. So ghosts are going to be appearing more like in gray tones. They're not going to be vibrantly full of color usually. They're going to still be very much in their earthly drama, which means if they died when they were sad, angry, or had some kind of drama going on, they'll be very much in those emotions still. And that's why you'll often hear ghosts want you to finish their unresolved business and things like that. Where when a loved one comes back to visit you, they've already basically been to heaven and then they're coming back to visit, and they can come back as often as you want them to. And they're going to have their own light source. It's like their soul is shining out. So a lot of times you'll see them either as a bright light figure or a lot of beautiful colors. And they are not concerned with any of the dramas that they had when they were living. They're actually just there to support you and to provide love and assistance for you.
And they emanate love and peace.
Absolutely.
As well. So when you call it a ghost, that's something I believe I would call an earthbound entity.
Yes.
Soul that hasn't crossed over.
Yes. They often get stuck in the place of their death, or they get magnetized. There's like a window of opportunity for them to go to the light after they have passed and left their body. So there's like this window of time, approximately 9 days, where they can choose to go into the light or they can choose to stay earthbound. But once they've made that choice, it's like the grid, electromagnetic grid closes and they can no longer go to heaven by choice. They need to have somebody open up that window and send them after that point. So the earthbound ghosts that you run across, it is free will that they've chosen to stay. But a lot of times that desire is changed because they've been here 100 years, but they no longer have the ability to go. And that's where a medium or someone else that has those spiritual gifts can help move them along and put them where they need to be.
Help them cross over to the light.
Yes.
And get unstuck.
Yeah.
Which is really, it's a gift. It's a gift to go to those who stay on the ground, stay attached.
Yeah. And you know what? I always tell people, they're like, my work with the paranormal, there was a different ideology around that, where they'd be like, oh, we talked to this ghost. They said that they're fine. And it's like, well, even if they think that they're fine, they should still go to the light, because having an unhealed spirit in your presence or in any vicinity actually can impact your health, and it lowers the vibration of the earth. And so it's really pretty important, not just to that individual soul, but to their loved ones, their lineage, the environment, the earth, to elevate that energy, to heal it, and to move it forward.
So let me ask you this question. Do you is there a way, so you know, global consciousness, you set an intention, you meditate for the intention, let's say peace on earth, or um, the environment to get, you know, healed and everything go back to a healthy pattern. Is there a way of doing something like that for the earthbound entities where a group can get together and have a ceremony of sorts to help as many raise to the light as possible?
It's more than intention because they actually need the grid opened. Okay, so somebody that's trained to do that or has the ability to do that can open it up. And so I do it. I use techniques that the priest taught me in Bosnia, but I also used what I learned in Theta Healing. And so I get my connection with Creator, and then I'm able to open that and send them. Intention is not enough. You do have to be able to open that, but people can learn that. I teach people how to do that all the time, and it's really, really rewarding work. We've had, like, I take my classes sometimes to places that I know are haunted and allow them to cross over a ghost or an earthbound spirit. And it is such a moving experience to be able to do that firsthand and to know how effective it is. So anybody can learn how to do it. There's just some different techniques that you need. But essentially what I'm teaching them is how to use their own light to send them, because they're no longer attached to a bright light that can go through.
Right.
So if I can teach them how to use a different person's light to get up to Creator, then that's how they get through that opening.
And you have a lot of classes that you teach.
Yes.
And so I'm on top of learning how to, people cross over, spirits cross over. What else do you offer?
Well, I offer the Theta Healing. I offer 4 different classes in the Theta Healing. I offer the basic, advanced, dig deeper, and manifesting in abundance. And those are all certification courses. I also teach a 2-day mediumship class, which I put together through my own experiences and finding the most useful techniques to develop and improve your mediumship abilities. I also do a scrying night, which teaches people how to see spirits with these eyes so that they can actually see into the spiritual realm. So that was really neat because that was a gift I was born with, but I know it can be taught. And so it's really fun to see people experience spirit for the first time and to be able to see it so they don't have to guess what's around them. Let's see, I think that might be all for teaching.
Then you have that grief class.
Yes, that's a more of a healing program. I have my 9-week grief healing program, which literally takes people from the depths of their sorrow, working through the energy of grief, which can be very hard on the body, especially in the heart and lungs. And so because I can connect with them intuitively, I can see where they're storing it, and I can help their body cleanse that energy out of their body so they don't have to have physical ramifications from the loss. I work through their emotional system, their spiritual system, and then it's a process of elevating them all the way through to where they are downloaded with new feelings at the end. And then there's some techniques for manifesting a new purpose and a new life plan and being able to rebuild their heart so that they can experience love again.
This sounds amazing. We're going to talk more about this, and I want to know more about scrying and transfiguration when we come back, but we're going to take a break now. For you out there, if you want to talk to Diana, please call in at 888-346-9141. See you on the other side of the break.
All right, great job. All clear. Back in a couple minutes.
That was great.
Thank you, Marla.
I just, I hope I'm just being guided with questions to ask. So
good.
I'm glad that you're just rolling with it. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wonderful. I really like the idea. I've never, I want to know when you're going to be doing the class about teaching people to cross over, because I was going to ask if it was online, but when you said I go to a haunted place, it's like, yeah, she's not carrying the computer.
Well, actually, that's part of the Theta Healing basic class is what teaches people that. So, and that's my favorite go-to, even though I have used different techniques. That is like by far the cleanest, fastest, purest method. And so that's what I use. If I ever run into something where I feel like I need extra tools, I'll bring them in. But otherwise, I use the theta healing technique for crossing over.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I took a theta. Took a theta basic, but
Did you?
I did it, but I was doing it during my divorce, and I will share that for me, at the time, it didn't resonate. But I was recently in Bali and met a theta healer.
Yeah.
And went to an informational, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should try this again.
Yeah, my first class was in 2006, and the only piece I wanted from that was being able to really tune up all my skills to keep in touch with my loved ones. But then after I continued with it, and the program has obviously changed tremendously since then.
Yes.
Yeah, it really has. But then also you have to go with a teacher that you resonate with. And so people that come to see me, they literally fly here from all over. I get people from New York, California, Florida, that come here for my classes because they specifically want to know more about the spirit side. And sometimes that's really dusted over with a lot of instructors because they're not familiar with that content.
Yeah, that's the content I personally would like to get into, that kind of meaty content.
Yeah.
Not that the other content.
Sorry to interrupt, but we are just about to come back.
Perfect.
You are listening to Guided Spirit Conversations. To reach Marla Goldberg or her guest today, you're invited to call in to the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So thank you for sticking around through the break, and we're going to continue our conversation with Diana Palm. Diana is a spiritual healer, certified Reiki master, author, paranormal investigator, medium, and so much more. And that's what we're learning about. So if you want to talk to Diana, please pick up the phone and dial 888-346-9141, and you'll be able to speak to her and ask her any questions that you might have. But in the meantime, we're coming back to our conversation, which was amazing before we went off to break. Diana was talking about her classes. And if you want to check to see what classes Diana has upcoming, her website is www.dianapalm.com. But there's one caveat. If you have a problem with her website, try again, because there's a glitch being fixed at this moment. So we will, Diana will be able to show you all her stuff in no time if it hasn't already been repaired. So welcome, Diana.
Thank you.
So, okay, you mentioned scrying in part of your teachings and
Yes.
transfiguration. Explain to everyone what scrying actually is, what it does, and maybe how you can start practicing.
Sure, yeah. Well, actually, in my book, Mediumship, Scrying, and Transfiguration for Beginners, I take people through like many different ways of scrying, because you could literally scry into oil, fire, tea leaves. You can scry in so many different ways, and it's all beneficial to help you. What a lot of the forms of scrying do is help you get into a different brainwave frequency through concentration, and that allows more of your spiritual sight to open. However, the particular technique that I love and that I teach in this class is specifically for mediumship scrying. And what you do is gaze into the eyes of another person. You're sitting fairly close together with one candle in between, and I teach them how to send energy from their third eye to each other. And it's the energy when you're giving and receiving and you keep circulating it. It is amazing how high of a vibration two people can achieve. And what it does is literally just lift the veil or disintegrate the veil. So I have people that have never had experiences with spirit before come to one of these classes, and they're instantly able to see spirit guides, loved ones. They tap into this whole visionary experience that they've never had before. And I love to teach people that are in paranormal work, because so many paranormal investigators have yet to see a ghost or a spirit. So teaching them how to tune into it is really, really helpful when they're in the field.
And transfiguration. Explain
Yep.
what that is as well, please.
Yes. So transfiguration is more when an individual medium is able to raise their vibration without having to use another human for that. So when I was taught how to do it, it's just a matter of getting your vibration very high. And then when spirits come close to you, they're literally in and around your aura. They never at any time enter the body. I would never, ever recommend that. But they do come into your aura so that they can be seen. And oftentimes they'll appear right here in front of your face then. It may even look like the person that you're looking at, their face is moving and changing as the spirits are being revealed upon their face.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I can imagine that being very scary the first time.
Yeah.
What you expect, and all of a sudden, boom, something pops up right in front of your face.
You see some strange stuff. Yeah, you do.
I believe as long as it's not scary, I'm here. I'm in on trying anything.
Yeah.
So how does spiritual healing help those grieving? I'm changing a little bit here, but
yeah, for sure. So a lot of times, well, people can grieve from so many different things. Sometimes they're just holding grief in their body and they don't even know why. Sometimes babies are filled with grief because of something that happened, when they were infants, and they're adults now, but they're still carrying that sadness and they don't even know what to relay it to. So grief can get trapped in the body. It's not just from death or loss. It can be in your family line. It could be inherited. So, but what it does when it shows up in your body is it creates like this space where you can't get light into those parts of your body or your organs. And it creates this feeling of disconnection, aloneness, feeling like you've been cut off from God or that you don't have any support. And so being able to clear that energy up helps people to get their connection, which floods their body full of light, helps them move forward, helps them get out of their story and heal physically in many ways.
it's I know for a fact it's so helpful when that is. And a lot of times, like for example, if somebody is the offspring of a Holocaust survivor, what the stress that the Holocaust survivor experienced during their encampment or whatever it might be,
yes,
could easily be brought down through the DNA.
Absolutely. Because so what I do is DNA healing. So when I'm working with individuals, I can see how things are connected to their family line. So there's one level that we create on in this life, but we also inherit. And so a lot of things in our genetics are what we're manifesting our life out of. And so when people are trying to shape their life and they're trying to make different choices, sometimes it seems literally impossible because their genetic programs are playing so loudly in the background, and that's really the driving factor. So when I can get those in alignment with each other, then their life can really be more to their liking and be more of what they're trying to create.
And that's such a gift also. I know I keep talking about all these gifts, but it's just a gift, because who doesn't want to be healed and live the life you're divinely meant to live?
Yeah. It's it's like we're all used to the struggle and trying to get over it and achieve it, and we're at this pushing feeling, right? And when I find you just go right back into the DNA and you resolve it there. And I was a kind of a good, in my own life, I had so many different struggles and things I had to heal from. And I often now looking back think maybe I just did that so that I would have more compassion or understand what other people are going through. So working my way through that and healing all the different losses and different things that I've had really helped me to gain that clarity. I went through it and I know it can be done. And so it's really cool to be able to help other people go through that and clear up their DNA and show them they don't have to struggle and they don't have to have those programs running. They can actually create new programs and learn in a different way. So many of us are learning from struggle, and it's like, well, wouldn't you like to learn through inspiration rather than struggle? And that was a big one for me. I had a lot of struggle.
I did too. That's why my book is I named what it is, My Effing Long Journey to Loving Myself, A Guide to a Shorter Path.
Oh, that's great.
And I really truly feel that a lot of healers do go through struggles early on so that they can relate to more people. Because if you lived like a candy cane life and had no struggles, how do you understand when somebody is going through the pain that many people go through for whatever the reason might be?
Yes. Yes. And what I found, like I was clearing up a lot of issues that I dealt with in my life that I was aware of. That's the first level. And then after that, it seemed like there was a plateau. And that's when I really started going into my genetics and really realizing how much was DNA related, how many programs I inherited. And if if just the normal average person can look at their family line and see, like, what did your parents think and believe about this? What did your grandparents think and believe about this? And what was their history? Because your cells in your body actually carry all the memories from your ancestors. So we want to
cellular memory. I mean,
yeah. So like you were saying with the Holocaust survivors, and it's like what they went through and what their families endured, that's a mark in their DNA. But like how beautiful for someone to step forward now and heal it. Because what I see in that is the person that steps forward to heal it is healing genetically the wound that their family has been carrying. And in that, all their loved ones in the spirit world receive the healing, and all the children coming into the family are being born without that wound. So that one person makes such a pivotal difference in healing their entire genetic line when they step forward to do healing.
It's like a pebble in the water.
Yes.
In still waters. But so then that leads me to my next question, which, are you able to heal those that are transitioned?
Yes.
And
absolutely.
help the living.
Absolutely. All the time. All the time. So when people come to work with me, usually it's the first thing. If somebody needs help, they're going to step forward, and I'll be aware, like, okay, so-and-so's with you and he actually needs some healing. We're not going to, and you can tell by their energy and how they're bringing forth, if they're looking like they're disheveled, or like they have an alcohol or a drug problem, or they're still angry, then immediately I know that we need to heal them before we're going to get clarity from them and be able to work more clearly with the client that's sitting in front of me.
And would you use theta healing for that? Is that the technique
Yes, I do. At this point in my career, I kind of combine everything, but I would say that primarily I'm using my theta healing gifts.
Okay, because it just would make common sense to me, maybe not common sense, that if you can heal one that's transitioned, who left wounded,
yes,
then it just makes it better when it's time for the reincarnation. When it's
yes,
time to come
absolutely,
back.
absolutely. Yeah, and sometimes I get people that are in the throes of a tragic loss. Maybe one of their members of their family committed suicide. And so in those cases, it's important to clear and neutralize their home, their space, their memories, to clear the trauma, and then to physically go in and help them with their adrenals, because they're often stuck in fight or flight. And they're stuck in that moment of hearing the shocking news of the loss. And it's almost like a marker in the time. People can go back to that exact time and everything has changed in their life from that point. They don't feel like they could ever move forward or live again or be happy again. So what I'm able to do is go back to that trauma and release it from the body and adjust their adrenals so that they can get out of the fight or flight, and then their system just calms down, and then they can begin the normal, natural process of grief without being stuck in it and without being affected by the heaviness of that energy.
And so let's talk about spirits who commit suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And would you say like an accidental drug overdose would be a form of suicide?
It kind of depends. Not all. Some of them, yes. Some of them, no, if it's accidental. A lot of times that is actually intention, but more so what it is the vibration. So this is a really easy way to explain it to people. If a spirit does commit suicide, their energy, their vibrations, their thoughts and feelings are of hopelessness. They're feeling so hopeless that that's why they choose to leave, because they don't feel like they could be happy or be loved or make a difference or survive financially or whatever their combination of feelings are. And when they feel like they can't get any of those things right, they feel brokenhearted, devastated, alone, cut off. And those are all feelings and emotions that don't transition into the light. They're not the same frequency of the light. So that's why they get stuck in those emotions, because they're in this heavy, dark cloud of those emotions. They can't even connect to the light when they're living. So they certainly can't connect to it when they've passed. they do have people that are trying to help and angels that try to help and all of that. But this darkness that they've created and surrounded themselves in, they often get like really separated for quite some time unless somebody can come in and yank them and put them where they need to be in the light.
Wow, that's a lot. That's it's so let's talk about how the physical body is affected by grief and how you can then take the energy and heal it.
Yeah. Well, primarily, I mean, it can affect any part of the body. One of the things that I think is interesting is like if you lose somebody close to you that had a certain physical ailment, a lot of times their loved ones will absorb that physical ailment as a way to feel connected to them. And so sometimes when I'm tuning in with a person's body, I have to figure out, like, is this your gallbladder problem, or are you carrying this for your mother or father that had this problem? You know what I mean? Because sometimes it's just an energetic imprint and something to stay connected to. So that's the first thing I look at to clear up. And then I said the heart and lungs are known to carry heavy, heavy grief. So when you're looking at those intuitively, you can literally see they don't light up with light. They're dark, they're dense, they're heavy. And a lot of people experience, shortness of breath and things like that. Most often it's not physical, it's spiritual and emotional first, but it can become physical over time if people don't heal it. So that's why it's so important to move that energy up out of the body and make sure that you're actually getting light in all your organs and all throughout.
And so for a layman, for anybody who's just listening to this, who's not in the metaphysical world, how do you know if your organs are lit up or not?
Okay. Well, you know what? There's a lot of people can tune into that intuitively. Like even if they don't think that they're intuitive, we're all intuitive. And when I lead people through it, I can see what's going on in them, but I like them to experience it so they know it's real. So I just guide them to close their eyes and tune in with their body and to kind of like imagine they're going through their body and feel it. Like, does this feel light? Does it feel heavy? How about your stomach? What does it feel like there? And I take them just mentally into each part of their body and allow them to just intuitively connect, just very naturally connect and tell me what it feels like. And they can also, just most people can do that on their own very easily. And then I can actually get my connection and help them move the energy out and also do healing surrounding that issue that they're holding there so that then that body can, that piece of the body can heal better.
So let's say there's somebody in Bosnia and they're listening to this and they do the scan and they go, oh, my heart feels dark. Or it doesn't feel light. Is there anything that they can do to start like changing?
To bring in? Sure.
Light? Yes.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of people living right now that have broken hearts for just a lot of different reasons. And so it's really, really important I do a lot of focused work on the heart, and I have a program for that too called Creating Space for Love, where you really work with heart-related issues because the heart is all about love. And you're looking at love issues, self-love. Do you feel loved by your mom and your dad? And how about your mate? Or are you alone? And are you worried there's not a mate for you? And all that stuff. And also pet loss. We carry that broken heart in our heart too. So if somebody's on their own and they're working to heal that, I feel it's very important to, kind of find the source of it, but also try to shift that. And you can do some meditations to just imagine light coming into your body and healing it and lightening up the energy in there and just bringing, like I call it creator, it's God or source or universe, whatever your belief system is, just honor your belief system on that. But filling up with that light neutralizes the painful past that you've had. And it can fill your heart with the right type of energy that can begin to heal it physically.
So you feel a little bit of joy or happiness or
absolutely. When you get connected again, you can't help but feel that way because it's very invigorating.
Well, we're going to come back and talk more about this, but right now we've got to take a little break. So for you out there, please hang in with us. And if you want to talk to Diana, the number is 888-346-9141. See you on the other side.
All right, good signal. All clear. Back in about 2.
Thanks. That was great. I mean, I think because I like to give tips, tools, and techniques to the listeners.
Absolutely.
I think that is an absolute brilliant one in the sense that somebody could sit there, close their eyes, scan themselves, and okay, bring in light, fill my heart with light.
Right.
And though they might have to do it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, depending upon what's going on in their life,
Absolutely.
they can do it. Now, I understand, that when you have a healer, it helps, expedite things. And then you have definite guidance where you don't have to question, am I doing this right? Is my heart filled? Do I have to do this again?
Right.
You're a facilitator as well as a healer and getting to know this.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important. I really like to teach people the life skills because it's like not everyone can afford a healer and not everyone has that worked into their schedule for time or whatever. And it's like, why isn't this stuff taught in kindergarten? Really? I mean, we should all know how to work with our own body. I think it's very important.
That's why I love that now schools are adding meditation to their classes.
Yes, that's great.
And I think that it opens up the child's mind to be able to absorb more information, especially today with so much information to absorb that, it's hard. It's hard to take everything in my opinion, than when you're at 5.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everything's going so fast, especially with technology. So that's a good way to slow down. And I've taught like my nieces and nephews how to meditate and to go into their body and to see the light go through their body. And, I'm like, it's okay. Whatever's going on in your home, you can always just choose to fill up with light and, and try to keep them neutral, especially if I know they're having kind of a toxic home life.
Yes.
Giving them some skills, like just simple skills like that, because kids are really good at picking it up.
They're very good at picking it up. You can't hide much from kids. They know when there's a problem. They know when things are going wrong.
Yes.
Going wrong. But that's another great point is neutrality, is being neutral, staying neutral and not getting triggered, because for what the work I do, it's not the situation that causes, it's the emotion around the situation.
Exactly.
It will imprint your DNA, your cellular memory, and it will clog up, I'll call it clog up the works.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good. It's a good thing. Your nieces and nephews are very lucky to have you. And I don't know if you have grandchildren or not, but
not yet, no.
But when they come, that's going to be very lucky because you're able to teach them life skills that otherwise they wouldn't be taught.
Yeah. And my daughter has always done the healing work with me. So that's been really fun. I was able to, every time I learned something, I would teach her, but she came in as a healer naturally. And I didn't ever put dogma on her. So she was always able to do the healing since she was like 3 years old.
And I have a girlfriend like that. She's got a young daughter too. And she's very open and she's teaching her daughter. And she has her own little wand that she plays with.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
All right, so sorry to interrupt here, but we are coming back.
Okay, thank you.
You are listening to Guided Spirit Conversations. To reach Marla Goldberg or her guest today, you're invited to call in to the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for sticking around and being part of this audience and listening to the conversation with Diana Palm. So if you just came on, Diana is a spiritual healer, certified Reiki master, author, paranormal investigator, medium, and she has got this amazing journey. Oh, and she's a Theta healer, because I didn't say that earlier. And she teaches classes on the various Theta, what do you call them, blocks or modalities? Courses. And so we're going to continue our conversation. So as we went to break, we were talking about healing and how you can, find out if your organs are not having light come in and how they do that. But we were talking also about teaching children these techniques to really ease up their life and give them tools that are not taught in school. I just think it's so important to do that as well. We were talking about how important meditation is for young ones. But before I bring Diane back real quick, we're going to do our charity shout out. And Diana's charity is Home for Life Animal Sanctuary, which is www.homeforlife.org. And Diana, why don't you tell us a little bit about the organization and why it's so near and dear for you?
Well, actually, the whole topic with pets is near and dear for me. And it's kind of hard to find places that do give life care, life term, or, they will take pets forever and provide these loving homes for them. There's a few in my area. And so I was kind of undecided. And then I selected that one. But the whole mission is just because pets are amazing, and people, even a lot of my clients come to me after they're grieving a loss of a pet. And that's because pets absorb everything from us. I mean, pets are like amazing little healers, and they hold all of our wounds, and they see us through our biggest life changes and our stuff. And so pets, when they're discarded and they don't have a home, it's like they're missing their purpose in life. They want to heal you. They want to love you. They want to be with you. So I just like to bring focus to the importance of pets and animals in your life and why they're there and how much they love you. And it's just something good to be able to give back. And even if you don't have a pet, to provide some stability for an animal or a pet so that they can be given that opportunity with another family.
It's such a gift. And animals are so unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're having a bad day, they're there. You're ill, they're there. They're just amazing.
Absolutely. They're like our little keepers of all of the wounds that we have and all the hurdles that we have. And they just love us, and they love us through it, and they try to absorb it from us, and they remember it all. But there's no judgment, and they just love you anyways, but they remember everything, and they provide companionship to us like there's just nobody's business. So they're pretty amazing.
I'm a pet lover as well. I'm an animal lover. Horses, dogs, cats. So I'm allergic to the horses and the cats, but I still go and brush horses any chance I can.
Yeah.
But they're incredible. And so I know your ability does, but how does what you do work with animals?
Yeah, it's exactly the same as with a human. So people have a lot of belief systems that actually anchor in their illness or their grief or different things. And so that's what I help them uncover, is their belief systems anchoring it in. Animals have less belief systems. They're just designed to kind of free flow this loving energy. But if they've been living with a person for a long time and in a home for a long time, they can begin to absorb some of the belief systems. Animals that have been abandoned will have actual belief systems that they're abandoned, the world's unsafe. And so those are some of the first downloads that I want to give to animals, so they know they're safe, provided for, loved, wanted. And that can really shift an animal that's experienced abuse. When they show up to me in spirit, they're so amazing, because what they're actually talking about is not themselves at all. They're talking about their owner and how much they want their owner to heal. And then they start to tell me things that they have seen their owner live through. And so that's kind of a nice combination of how it works. But animals are very receptive to any healing directly, but in the spirit world, they show up for their owner.
And it's interesting. It's almost like they're the keeper of the secrets.
Yes, they are.
Because they can't gossip with anybody and say, "Did you know what happened to my owner?"
Yes, absolutely. And because they're so loving, and they absorb it. So that's really, really common if you have a sick animal, or for a sick person in the family, that their pet will have the same sickness. So both of them could have cancer at the same time. Or if you have arthritis, your pet may end up with arthritis, because they're naturally taking from you constantly in an effort to heal you. So it's really important to turn that energy back around and heal your pet.
I just want to tell you a quick story, just to back what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that I actually experienced that, because when I was going through my divorce, it was long, arduous, painful, and he was making it painful. And I had one dog, a Doberman. God bless him. I mean, I love all my animals, but he kept taking what my ex was energetically throwing out at me. And where did he take them? In the anal gland. So the first time explode. It almost, what's the word? Anyway, his anal gland almost expired or whatever. It's not expired. I can't remember the word, but where it breaks, the tissues tear. And the second time the tissue actually did tear and he had to have it. And I always said that he was taking that from him to keep me, because I was still dealing with so many other things he was sending out.
Yes.
And you just have to say thank you, because he was my protector on so many levels.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what a lot of people just aren't even aware of that. They know that they're there to kiss them and love them and comfort them, but they don't realize they're actually absorbing, because they're absorbing your pain and making that feel better for you. They're actually taking that pain into their little bodies. And so they'll do it unconditionally anyways, because they love you, but like it gets stuck in their bodies. Not all of them know how to transmute that and release it.
Which is so hard for to think of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, our time is coming to a close, and I'm just so grateful that you're on the show. This was such a great conversation, and I've enjoyed you so much.
Thank you, Marla.
Thank you, Diana. And I want to let everybody know your website again is www.dianapalm.com.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Diana Palm. Facebook is Diana Palm Intuitive. Instagram is instagram.com, Diana Palm Intuitive. And LinkedIn, Diana Palm Intuitive. So there's many ways and places you can find Diana. And I think a lot of your classes sound fascinating.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And thank you. And I want to thank Voice America, Matt, Robert, everyone there who supports me and the show. I want to thank Teresa Scott Reed. She's my right hand and my left hand. So grateful for her every single day. I want to thank you, the audience, for taking the time out of your day to come on my podcast, listen to it. And I hope that my intention of having you glean information and things that can help you with your life really manifest for you. And until next week, I'm so excited. We're going to have a great panel for Halloween. And I look forward to you joining us as we have a psychic medium, a paranormal investigator, to come and talk to you about Halloween spirits and things. So until next week, I send you love, I send you blessings, and I send you gratitude. Take care.
All right, perfect. Okay.
Matt, are you talking?
Oh, yep. Sorry, I was on mute. Great job. Good show, ladies. All clear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I was afraid it was going to be